Hello and welcome to another edition of the Breakdown. This is your host, Gator, aka Jacob. I'm up in here. Just wanted to say hello and thank you to everybody who has liked our like page, joined the group. Those you can be found. The links right below where you listening to this. Shout out to everybody who's been listening to us wherever you're listening to us. We truly appreciate it. We know you're listening, so we appreciate y'all so much. Tonight I wanted to take a turn, do something a little different as far as being in a relationship. But tonight what we talking about is the have and have nots of love. Not the show. I'm not talking about Tyler Perry show. Even though I do like the show, I want to know what's going on, but that's not what we're here for. We're talking about relationships, dating, what must be had, or what must you have to be in a relationship with a person, as well as on the flip side, what kind of things you will not, shall not, cannot have in that opposite person or the relationship to go. I don't know yet if we're going to do a series on this or if this is just a one-time show. We're going to see how far we get tonight talking about this. So, I always tell everybody where our shows come from. This show in particular, I was sitting back and because of me recently, not too long ago, rejoining the single life, being back out here, was sitting down and thinking to myself of different things that I won't tolerate or I will or need. I won't say I will tolerate, but I need to be in a relationship with someone. There are certain things that I've been seeing as far as social media, talking about Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that people have been talking about this here lately. So it's a very popular topic, the subject, as far as what's going on now in the dating game. It's a lot different than it was back in the day when we had to get out and meet people. Now you can actually meet people online on these. There's so many dating sites, it's crazy. And people been pushing me to get on dating sites. I just, it ain't for me. But I have been approached by certain ones, by Facebook, Instagram, whatever the case may be, saying that they would like to go out, or they would like to do this and do that. My situation, on the other hand, has been recently not to pretty well, like I put it on the Man Cave. Y'all don't check out the Man Cave, go check that out. Man Cave has a show on TDR, and we talk about a lot of stuff on how men feel about dating, about marriage, about children, kids. We cover all subjects as far as the man's point of view. And so we was on there talking, and for a minute they've been saying, you need to get back out there. You need to do your thing. You need to hurry up. Go ahead. But I wasn't tripping. I wasn't tripping about getting back out there because my whole thing is I didn't want to jump back out there and not have nothing when I do. This is just my opinion. This ain't nobody else's opinion of the breakdown. They might agree, they might disagree with me, but my opinion is in dating, and a lot of people look at it differently now that society has changed and the years has grown, but I still feel like men are like, as far as dating goes, when we go out, should be a man putting, I don't know, let's say, I say putting his foot first as far as asking somebody to go out on a date. You should be able to pay for the date and do what you need to do. Like if you've been listening to the Man Cave, I talk a lot more freely over there about my situation because we don't do it that much here. But yeah, my whole situation is I want to be able to do that. I preach it all the time. And so I want to be able to do that, and that's why I haven't been back out on the dating scene. Now, like I said, the topic is the have and have not, to be in a relationship or be in love. We want to know from you, and y'all can put it on the page or the group. We're gonna post some stuff in there too. What do you consider having or must have to be dating or be in a relationship? I know Mike is in here. I know Lala is in here. Lala is for me. Faith is in here. Give me some of y'all opinions. What do y'all feel that you must have in order to be in a relationship? Anybody can start. Flo, Sassy, Lala, have a word.
You know me, I always let the ladies go first, so. I
think they both preoccupied. That's why I was, yeah.
Well, some things that you have to have in a relationship, I know one is trust.
Mm-hmm.
That's it should be one of the halves in there.
Okay.
Trust and security is one. And I say because a lot of people, like I said, like we talked about before, carry baggage from past relationships. Mm-hmm. Whether it be baggage of infidelity, emotional fidelity. Well, I say emotional problems or whatever, but it's got to be stuff that you got to trust that next person that you get with is not the last person that you were with, shall I say.
Okay, explain that. I know what you mean, but just explain that.
Well, what I mean is the person that you're with is not like the person that you were with before. What I mean by that is male and female, we can get in relationships, and what we do is it be some kind of call tell sign or something that they might do or the person may do or say or act a certain way that triggers them because the person that they were with before did the same thing.
I mean, be like, you just like my ex. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes that's not even thrown in your face. It's just that they may distance themselves. Everybody's different. They pull away in their own certain way, whether it's just being quiet, just dissing themselves, not calling like they used to, or texting you like they used to, or just checking up on you from day to day or whatever, or your normal routine. So that's something that should be a have in there. Trust is one. So that's just in my opinion. That's a big one. What about
I have a question.
Uh-oh. You said you have a pet peeve?
No, I have a question.
Oh, okay.
So, are we talking about once in the relationship, or are we talking about when you're dating someone? What are some must-haves in order for you to entertain the possibility of a relationship?
Well, I was talking about when you're dating somebody, but
Okay. I mean, yeah, no, I mean, trust is definitely, you know, one, but I was just asking, you know, from like, I guess, where I would be coming from, but I know for me, I said on the page, I said a genuine connection. But I really feel like things that are like must-haves for me would be, you know, somebody who has good coping skills or someone who's at least willing to learn good coping skills. You guys know I'm like big on communication, so obviously that, and someone who is able to be accountable and like be honest with themselves. I think those are like the most important things probably in my book that I, you know, evaluate. Like, okay, I've been talking to this person, you know, for a while, and, you know, do I feel like, you know, he has good coping skills, or, you know, do I feel like he communicates effectively, or is he willing to, you know? Those are probably like my big ones. Does he blame everything on everybody else? You know, can he ever like really look at himself and be like, you know what, that was a dumb mistake. Like, I know next time, you know, whatever. Even with the smallest thing.
Now I have a question. Sorry to cut you off.
Mm-hmm. No,
okay. How you doing this evening, though?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing dandy. You know, good for a man that got hit by a car, but
I know. I thought I was getting ready to say, how you doing?
Hey.
Because I know you're not taking it easy. You probably have been at work every day.
You know it. I went back Wednesday.
Okay.
But what do you mean by coping skills? Could you go into details a little bit more about
coping skills? Yeah, so coping skills to me, now, you know, I could be wrong in my definition. You know, I don't ever want to put it out there that I'm being politically correct. But to me, you know, having good coping skills would be, you know, like what do you do when you are in a tough spot? You know, like what do you do when you're overwhelmed, you're frustrated, or, you know, what do you do when somebody tells you you're wrong? You know, what do you do when your best is not enough? And I say that because I think in past relationships, situationships, friendships, you know, whatever, because I am an empath, I tend to gravitate to those people who do not have those things, because I feel like, oh, you know, like I can help them, like I can love them through this, you know, whatever. But really, those are the worst people to actually be with, because they don't know how to get through a tough situation. And those tend to be the aggressive ones. Whether it be, you know, physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, those are the ones that tend to be the abusers. You know, people who, they don't have good coping skills. So, like, when I say, you know, coping skills or, like, coping mechanisms, it's like, you know, do you have the ability to, like, actually stop and think about the situation and, you know, maybe de-escalate, you know, or, you know, do you maybe go take a walk, maybe listen to music, maybe meditate, you know, do you always, you know, if somebody tells you no, can you, like, not take hearing no? That's a problem. And I feel like a lot of our kids nowadays, you know, I comment this all the time on Facebook, and people, you know, they're like, oh, whatever. You have, like, a kid that snapped out. You know, they have, like, these videos of kids, you know, they're having full-on temper tantrums because they're not getting their way. And when I say kids, I mean, like, 13, 14, 15-year-olds, you know, like teenagers. Even grown adults, you know, mad that they didn't get their way, and they're acting out now. And I'm like, you know, they don't have any good coping skills, because I really believe that coping skills is something that we are taught. You know, you have to learn. Yeah. You have to learn it. So, and it has to be modeled in front of you, and you also have to be taught that. So for me, that's what coping skills are, basically, how you handle stress, whatever, how fast you fly off the handle, that kind of thing. And that probably is not something that, other people look at, but I think because of my failed relationships and the emotional abuse and things like that, that those are the things that are most important to me.
Is that personally because a lot of kids nowadays come up getting what they want? I'm just saying from personal experience because I see it. They're never told no at home when they get out in public, and they get told no. They have a problem. I know.
Well, I think it's that.
Go ahead.
I mean, I think that is that, but it's also what our kids are exposed to, and I know a lot of people don't really believe in this, and but I firmly believe that our kids are a product of what they are exposed to. Now, that doesn't mean that that defines who they will be in life, because it doesn't. But in the current state, my 5-year-old daughter is a product of the things that she's exposed to, whether I want her to be exposed to them or not. You know what I mean? It could be something that she's picking up in school, something that I noticed that she does, and it's not because, I'm lenient on her, but, Jacob, I'm a disciplinarian when it comes to my daughter. I try, my mom was strict on me, and I try to be the same way with my daughter, but I try to get down on her level. I try to understand that she has feelings too. My mom didn't care about me having feelings. She didn't care at all. Back then, you're a child. You're unseen, you're unheard. You speak when you're spoken to, and so I try not to take that same approach with my daughter. I do, but I don't. So it might not be because the parents are not telling them no. 9 times out of 10, that's the reason. But a lot of it, well, I'm going to say maybe 6 times out of 10. The other part of it is what they're exposed to. So for 8 hours a day, your kids are in someone else's care, at school, whatever. My daughter started picking up this little thing that she does. She starts whining and, stomping her feet. And I'm like, well, why are you doing that? Well, one day when I was at her school, I noticed that one of the little girls in her class does this, and she's a new kid. So it's because she's, kids are very impressionable. So when she sees that, now she thinks that, that's how you're supposed to handle situations. So that's why I say, good coping skills and coping mechanisms have to be modeled in front of children. They have to see how we handle stress, how we handle, rough situations. Do we snap out and yell every time, we get upset? And I'll be honest, I myself, as a parent, I have had to check myself, before. I've definitely had times where I've been so stressed out, and then here comes my daughter with her mess, and I completely let her have it. Let her have it. And then I had to come back and apologize. I'm sorry, Mommy had a really rough day, and it's not your fault, and I should not have taken that out on you that way, because it's not your fault. It's okay to have a bad day, but you don't take it out on other people. So that's what I mean by modeling it. So I feel there are a lot of adults that lack coping skills. I think for those reasons, it wasn't modeled to them, or maybe the environment that they were in, whether it be abusive parents, whatever. It's a lot of adults that just can't cope. And I feel that's why we have so much suicide, like I said, so much mental, emotional abuse, so much disrespect that goes on. Is I know my daughter's dad, for one, is as soon as he feels you're not hearing him, he starts hitting low blows. He don't even care. He'll talk about your dead grandma, you know,
Wow.
whatever. He automatically goes, you know, he has no coping skills. Yeah, he has none. He has none, and that once he feels, you know, intimidated, or he feels like, you know, you're not being heard, or he gets frustrated with the fact that he can't articulate how he feels, or you're not agreeing with him, he gets upset and he immediately just gets disrespectful. So that's why that is important to me. But I just say a overall, you know, genuine connection, you know, with someone. It's not nothing sexual. It's not about, you know, what they can do for you. But, you know, more so like, you know, you guys kind of understand each other. I think that two people can really tell when they have a genuine connection.
That's true. If we lose Mike,
What?
still
I'm serious. Yeah, I'm serious. I ain't going
Did that
nowhere.
answer your question, Mike?
Yes, it did, man. It really did.
Sassy, you still here?
You gotta give her time to unmute her phone, probably. Because I know it takes me time to unmute my phone.
Is there anything that I ain't gonna say that you would allow, but you can handle as far as that goes? First, is there anything from the opposite person, or whoever you're dating, that must be had in order to be in a relationship with them?
Like credentials? Like,
no, I mean like what we were talking about. The same deal.
is there anything that they must have? So outside of, you know, me saying them having a genuine connection, Mike saying
it could be anything.
someone
like,
you can trust.
Some people.
I mean, for me, I feel like a guy has to be able to like take care of himself. Like, you don't have to be able to take care of me, but I need you to be able to take care of yourself. You know, I'm all for being a friend to you. I'm all for helping with resources. You know, hey, try here, you know, that kind of thing. But like, you can't come live with me. We're not going to be laying up. We're not going to play this game. Because I really feel like when you are, when you can't take care of yourself financially, I feel like it causes other issues. I feel like it causes like insecurities and, you know, whatever. And you may latch on to a person that you would not have normally approached or considered. But out of, you know, the fact that you're in such a broken place, you may latch on to, or, you know, this situation might look good to you, but down the road, you're going to not be happy because this is not really who you would have wanted to be if you were where you needed to be. So I think that people in that situation, male or female, in that situation should not actually be dating. Now, that's not to say that, you know, you might not, you know, you may very well run into somebody and have that genuine connection, and it's like, no, I'm not saying don't date because you're not, you know, where you should be. But I'm just saying that someone in that space has to be very careful, or, you know, both the person in that space and the other person, you know, that would possibly be dating them, you know, would have to be careful, because the person might not intentionally be, you know, setting out to latch on to you. You know, they may not realize it because they're in such a broken place. And, you know, like I said, the two of you may not, you know, end up being happy at some point. So for me, I feel like, you know, a guy has to at least be able to take care of himself in order for me to date him. Just because I have one child and I don't finance. Like, I can't. I can't do it.
You ain't raising no more kids.
I can't. Like, I can't. I have enough with my daughter, and her tuition and her medication and this and that. Like, it's just too much. I have enough stress. I don't need stress to take care of somebody else, grown man. Can't do it. That's the deal breaker for me.
And so, is this in the beginning of the relationship or during the relationship?
No, we're talking about dating before you even consider being in a relationship with somebody. If I'm in a relationship with somebody and they lose their job, or they fall on hard times, I'm going to ride with them. That's not, that's a totally different situation. I mean, things happen. We all fall on hard times, there's plenty of, guys out there that end up getting hurt because they mingle with females who are in a broken, point of their life. So they're just willing to, whatever. This guy is paying for whatever, he's paying for dates, he's this, he's that. And it's like, this is not somebody that they would even normally deal with. So once they get themselves together or they find something better, then he ends up, broken, brokenhearted, whatever. So I think that when you're looking to date someone or you're like in that dating phase, those are deal breakers. But like I said, if you're in a relationship, then I feel like it's your job to hold your partner down.
Okay, absolutely. And I feel it.
So what? Oh, you're your opposite face.
I can't hear you.
What do you think?
Yeah. Okay, I can't. Man, I don't know.
Oh, you might have to hang up and try again. As far as dating, what do you think?
What are you asking her? What are deal breakers, or what are things that you look for?
Basically, what you look for as far as, or is there anything that you can think of that would turn you off from dating someone?
First of all, her lying. That's the turn off.
Say that again.
That's a big turn off. Now I don't know. I look at how you treat people, not just your family, but other people. I don't have a big filter. I don't know. Like I said, mine is the trust issue. That's mine. And the communication. Period, point blank.
That's it.
That's really it.
So lying is good for you.
What?
Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all what somebody said. I don't know if it was in the group. No, this wasn't on the breakdown. I saw this in the different group on Facebook, social media. They were talking about this, and I don't know if he was joking or if he was being real or what, but he said he had to test it out sexually to make sure he could be with somebody. Because if the sex ain't right, he can't do it. It's not a possibility. He will have to let it go because the sex ain't good. Is that a major deal breaker? Don't all get quiet.
Did you repeat that?
The sex was brought up. If sex isn't good, that is a major deal breaker with some people. Agree?
What do you mean if the sex isn't good?
Like, if you have sex with somebody and it's just, to you personally know
when sex is good.
Yeah, but I mean,
no.
Here's my take on this, and
see, I got a point of view.
Y'all know that I
fail
at this. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Y'all know I fell at this because y'all know about the whole Bay friend situation. But I really honestly feel like what I believe, and it's hard to practice what you preach sometimes, but like what I believe is that we technically shouldn't really even engage in sex until we are very serious with that person. I mean, obviously marriage would be the goal. Is to wait until, you're married. Not even from a biblical sense, right? But just from the fact that, okay, so let's say you get married, right? And you have sex. And it's not quite what you wanted it to be, right? You have nothing but time to work on that. Like, this is your, this is your other half. Like, this is you're not just gonna walk away from the marriage like, oh nope, first night the sex was trash, like we're done. You know what I mean? Like, this is your husband, this is your wife. You have time to like learn each other and figure it out. Whereas if you are dating, whether it be early on, or whatever, and you have sex with somebody, it's like, okay, yeah, no. Like, I'm not going to deal with this person no more. Like, they might not get a phone call back or, whatever. However, you could be missing out on your match. You know what I mean? Sex is always, yes, there's definitely bad sex. But I feel like it can be worked on. But you got to have two people that are willing to communicate and be like, okay, well, hey, I like this, or I like it like this, or can we try this, or what are our boundaries? What makes it bad? Whatever. I feel like if two people can really sit down and put their pride aside and not be upset that the person, it wasn't good enough for that person or whatever, I feel like if you could sit down and talk about it and see that's something that somebody in a serious committed relationship that has built trust and has built this friendship, that has built a good foundation, you have all of those things to sustain you even after you've had this now bad sex. You have all of those other things to kind of get you through that moment to where you're able to talk about it and maybe you're able to figure it out, and you might from that point on be able to have the best sex with this person, depending on what the reason is that it was bad. But when we're just like dating and casually smashing or whatever, testing it out, whatever the case may be, and you go off of that experience, you might be shortchanging yourself. So I say that it's better to wait. However, I have failed at that myself in the past. You gotta test it out.
What? You failed at what? Sex?
No. Failed at. I didn't mean to say it like that.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to toot my own horn. But no, I was just like, don't label me. Don't put that label on me. No. We gonna have to. No.
That's not what she was saying.
No, as far as like practicing what I preach, like as far as not so much that I preach to other people to wait, but that's really honestly what I believe. Like, that whole breakdown is like in my heart what I feel is what we should do. Like I said, whether you're a believer or not, not really coming from a biblical standpoint, but just period. Like, in general, I think that would be the best thing to do. That would probably be the most solid thing to do. However, I have failed at that in the past, and I end up giving in, at some point or whatever. I'm not saying that it's, in the beginning or whatever. But I feel like once sex gets involved, things get complicated if you are not already committed, if you're not already in that, committed relationship or marriage.
I'm not gonna tell you no lie. I want to know what it hit like before we get, to the marriage part.
See, I could understand a woman saying that, but I can't really understand a guy saying that because I don't know how. I don't understand like what could make it bad. Maybe that's another show. Maybe that's another show that we can discuss that as far as like what would make sex bad or whatever. Maybe that should be our next show. But I think that it would be more like a woman saying, that they need to, test the package out, whatever, prior to.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I think I'm trying to find this post because I think that's what it said. I think it was a woman.
You said it was it was a woman.
I think it was. I'm trying to find it.
And I just say that because I think that guys, at the end of the day, I think that guys will literally smash anything. Some guys. I feel like some guys will, I feel like guys aren't hard to please when it comes to sex.
Yes, it is.
I feel like for women, it's a little different.
Hey, I'm not gonna hit a woman that ain't got no arms and no legs. That's disrespectful.
No, that's not what I mean. I'm saying outside. That's not what I mean, Mike. I'm saying, okay, let's say you're attracted to a female, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, you're like, that wasn't really the greatest sex I've ever had. Like it wasn't really, nothing to rave about. That's not going to stop you from sleeping with her again. I mean, if she hits you up, whatever, as long as it wasn't something, as long as she didn't like bite you or something that you don't like, you would most definitely smash her again. I mean, it's a vagina. Like, I don't think, I don't know.
If the sex is whack, I couldn't come back.
I don't believe that.
Oh, believe me.
For most guys. I mean, maybe you. I mean, I'm pretty sure I do have one of my male friends that we're strictly just friends. We're not even on speaking terms anymore, so whatever. But no, seriously, no, because I cut him off. No, seriously, like there was never nothing like that. We were just strictly friends. Like that's my homeboy. He taught me a lot when I was younger. He taught me so much, like a lot about myself, and like he really gave me the game a lot. But I cut him off when I got with my daughter's dad, and that ruined our friendship because he felt like he would never do that to me. And his baby's mom hated my guts. And he did not, like, he defended me every step of the way when it came to her. Like, nah, that's my folks. You're not going to disrespect her. You got to get out of my house acting like that. He didn't play that when it came to me. And I think I, like, genuinely hurt his feelings that I didn't have his back the same way. And I was just doing what I felt I should do in my relationship. My man did not feel comfortable with us being friends, which, I mean, we're talking about he's all the way in, Louisville, Kentucky, and I was all the way in New York. So it's not like this was like, John at work or, somebody in the same area. But, my man who was going to be my husband, was not comfortable with us communicating, even on a like, hey, how's your mom? Happy holidays, kind of. He wasn't with it. And I, me being submissive, I was doing what I thought I should do. And, I told him, I was like, I can't keep in contact with you. And so that ruined us. When I was no longer in that relationship, one of our mutual friends was like, hey, guess who's in my living room right now visiting, whatever. And it's like we've just never been cool since then. And I tried to apologize, and he was just like, nah, like, you don't fool with me, so I'll never give you the opportunity to hurt me that way again. So that was that situation. Seriously, that was just my friend. But anyway, he's like that. He's very particular. And if you do anything that turns him off, or if I mean, he's cut off plenty of chicks. And I'm like, oh, you know, she was real pretty. And he's like, yeah, but she can't give head. You know? And he wouldn't. But I know guys, but I know plenty of guys that are like, oh, yeah, she's probably, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, she's probably about a 4. But, you know, I hit her after the club, you know. That's how I hear most guys talking. Like, they'll, you know, pretty much smash, you know, whatever. But I think it's different for women because it's a little more complicated with us.
I can't smash this.
Well, I'm not saying just smash anything. We're not talking about, you know, you and Mike, y'all just taking it to the extremes. Like, I'm not saying somebody that you're not attracted to. I'm just saying somebody that you consider, like, not to have, you know, good sex. I feel like if guys can, I don't know what you want to call it. Trying to be politically correct there, and not like no hood booger. You know, if guys can, you know, get to the finish line, I feel like that was a good experience for them, and they would do it again.
To the finish line.
Oh, come on. Leave it alone. I'm not about to say what I call it.
So in other words, she's saying if you hit the skin, then it's not the problem.
Wait, say that.
If you what?
Basically,
What was that, Mike?
You said if you get to the finish line.
The finish line, the ending.
Yeah, so that means if you get the opportunity to smash, right?
No.
No, my bad, man.
You as a man, if you get to the finish line.
Oh, and you don't get to the finish line? That's bad. I don't know. That means you got to jump back in the water and go for another run.
Hello?
You said go for another run? Wait, what you say?
You're going to have to jump back in there and go for another run.
Oh, yeah, okay, so you got what I'm saying. Yes, I'm saying as long as I feel like for men, and this is just my personal opinion, I feel like for men, as long as you can, you know, get your little situation off, I feel like that's a good experience for guys. Like an okay enough experience to, you know, smash that same female as, you know. Y'all don't want to tell me what we should call it? Because I'm not sure.
I want to know what you call it.
No.
Yeah, you might have to. I'm lost for damn so.
No, Jacob knows what I'm saying, and you do too, Mike. You just said it. We're going to have to go another round if it's not.
Oh, okay, yeah, then I got it.
No, but you said you call it something in particular. I want to know. Call it.
That's another show.
I'm not going to let it go.
That's another show. We're talking about the haves and the have-nots. So we know that for Mike, you know, sex is something that is a must-have. Good sex, I should say.
Yes. So you going to tell me you want one that's good or you want something that's wet?
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, like, I know I had an experience before where I was talking to somebody for a while. I mean, we went on a couple dates. We hung out a couple times. You know, we, you know, kissed here and there, you know, whatever. But we never actually went there. And when that day happened that, like, it actually did, I think that he was, like, caught off guard. And it wasn't the greatest experience, right? If I would have judged it off of that, now that I come to think about it, I wish I would have. But if I would have judged it off of that, then it would have been, let me say this, it would have been a good thing if I would have. But I didn't, and we hung out a couple more times, and then, you know, it happened again, and it was like, it was great. It was a great experience. And, you know, he was just like, I was just excited, I was like, the anticipation was built up, and I was caught off guard a little bit, got a little excited, whatever. After that, we had great sex. Great sex.
And that's understandable. You might be caught off guard the first time, but that's why you got to get back in the saddle and ride that thing.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, what if I would have judged off of that and I would not have called him back? I mean, I'd have been all right in life, don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, like, I would have misjudged because he doesn't have bad sex. His sex, the sex that we had was actually great. The other thing, too, is I don't think that sex, how good the sex is going to be, is up to the individual people. I feel like you have to have chemistry with a person. You might have great sex, but your chemistry with that person might not necessarily be there, where your chemistry with somebody else might be there, and you might have out of body experience, whatever, with this person versus with somebody else, not so much. So I don't think that it's necessarily up to one person. That's why I say, I feel like if you truly have a connection with somebody and you have that foundation built where they can trust you, you can trust them enough to be like, hey, our sex is whack. Like, and I definitely want to figure it out. I'm not saying that it's you, or I don't like when you do this, or, whatever. If you can have that conversation, the two of you, can figure it out, and you may end up having great sex, and that may boost your chemistry. I don't think that it's just like, oh, this person had bad sex. I just think that some people have good chemistry and some don't. So I think that's why I say, like, I think having that deeper connection before you have sex with somebody, So I say that to say, I don't think that, like, having bomb sex is an absolute necessity up front when you're dating.
Yeah, I can understand that, because you're feeling somebody else.
Right. I think it depends on the reason, though, that the sex is not good, too. Okay, so what's next, Jacob? Because that's a whole nother show, we said. Do we need Jacob? Do we need Jacob? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So we'll just keep going until we get Jacob back. But so, Mike, what do you think? What is a what is the absolute? I mean, other than like the bad sex situation, what is something that is a turn off for you, or something that you is an absolute deal breaker when you're dating someone? Before getting into a relationship, like when you're dating someone, what is something that would like turn you off, that you're like, I don't even want to date this person no more?
Bad attitude.
Bad attitude?
Yeah.
We definitely don't have that.
That's my thing with this. You can be real pretty, gorgeous woman. You can be past the dime, but if your attitude is ugly, it makes your core ugly.
Yeah, definitely. You can be a beautiful person and have the nastiest attitude, and it's definitely a complete turn off. Like, I agree. Plus, when you're dating someone, things are supposed to be happy. Things are supposed to be fresh and fun. And yeah, you're going to have disagreements. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. But, when you're dating somebody and you're getting to know them, it shouldn't be miserable. Them having a nasty attitude, and, that's an easy way to argue. And I don't like to argue. I can debate all day. We can debate, we can talk. we can agree to disagree. But when it comes to like arguing, I don't even like arguing. That's a complete turn off for me.
I
So
totally agree.
that's definitely a no go for me. Is Sassy still here?
I don't know if she's here.
Is that Jacob?
Yeah. Okay, I got.
Oh, we lost you for a while.
So we're trying to fix this echoing issue. We got a problem.
I don't hear any echoing.
We're talking about. You can't hear, but we hear it.
Oh, okay. Okay, you guys on the back end. Okay.
Is there a way to change that though?
Change what? The attitude?
As far as I don't know, people lying, whatever the case may be, because you were saying, well, you might.
I think so.
We were saying that it was different things that caused the problem. Does the person have a chance to change? I know with lying, there's certain, well, especially women feel a certain way about people lying. So that might be a done deal.
I think it is. I think it can be changed. It all depends on how you come into the relationship.
And it all depends on. Let me say this: I can't stand a liar, right? So, but at the same time, when you're in a situation where you are getting to know somebody, some people lie for different reasons, and there's different levels of lying. None of it is right. Don't get me wrong. But when you're dealing with somebody, and it's definitely a red flag. However, like I said, if you both can be two adults, and you can actually talk about it. Like I actually dealt with somebody who did that. He would lie, but he would do it to impress me. You know, he would make bigger of situations to impress me. And I had to tell him one day, like I just had to call him on his bluff, and I was like, listen, I want to share something with you, and I don't want you to be offended by it. I was like, but, you know, you don't have to impress me. Like, I like you for you, not for what you're doing, what you got going on, you know, whatever. So, you know, you don't have to do all the extra stuff, and you don't have to, like, I feel like you lie sometimes, and not necessarily like lie, like bold-faced lie, but sometimes you put on a little more than you should, and it's to impress me, and I'm not impressed. It's actually a turn-off. And I feel like once I told him that, and we were able to, like, you know, talk about it, and I would give him examples of when he was doing it, he would be real, and he was like, all right, you're right, I'm okay, it was this, you know. And he's like, I just really, you know, want you to like me, you know, whatever. And eventually it stopped happening because he realized, you know, we got a little more comfortable with each other, and he realized that, like, I was telling the truth when I told him, like, you can be yourself around me. You don't have to, like, lie to get me to like you. So I think in that situation, like, the lying stopped, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I say I feel like it depends on the reason that they're doing it. I know we have a lot of us have, you know, pride. We don't want people to know, you know, that we're struggling, or, you know, whatever. Like, this guy was like, oh yeah, my microwave just broke, you know, the other day. And it's like, dude, just say you don't have a microwave. What's wrong with that? Like, you live, like, what's wrong with just saying, like, yo, I don't have a microwave? Like, okay, don't lie, you know, like, don't lie about it. Weird stuff. But I feel like if it's something like that, it can be, you know, fixed. If you can talk about it and be honest about it, those things can be fixed.
Do you think it's that hard for people to talk about it? What do y'all think?
It's hard. It's hard for people to be accountable. It's hard for people to, you know, people have insecurities for one reason or the other, and pride. So I feel like people have a hard time talking about those things that are uncomfortable. because they're afraid of how people are going to look at them, how people are going to, now judge them. Are they going to miss out on this person? Is this person going to want to stop talking to you because you tell them the truth, or because you have that hard conversation with them? Not always. Sometimes people can really respect the fact that, okay, like, I can appreciate that you were honest with me about that, or I can appreciate that you were willing to have that conversation with me, versus, and it might be that, hey, like, this is not going to work because that doesn't work for me. And that's fine. It's better to have it work that way than for now 6 months down the line, you realize this person's been lying all along, and now, you end up breaking up, or now you got all this drama behind the situation because you couldn't have a hard conversation. You couldn't adult. That's what adults do, in my opinion. But I feel like again, people don't know how to do that.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
That's what I was saying on that live that we were on for the other podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think somebody made the comment and was like, "Well, yeah, if it was a perfect world, yeah, that's what it should be, but we're not going to, front like people actually out here telling the truth." And it's like, no, there are a lot of people that will be honest with you. There are a lot of people that will be honest with you, whether you want them to be, or, whether it's hard to hear that truth or it's hard to have that conversation. There are a lot of people that will be upfront and honest with you. And whatever you decide to do with it, you decide to do with it. But I think it's not enough people who look at it that way. So it seems like, everybody's lying, but everybody's not.
When y'all get a chance, check out Sweats and Suits. That's another show that we talking about. Eric himself touched on this. They went in.
They are hilarious, first of all. They're hilarious. They are absolutely hilarious. And they have no filter. I probably sat there with my mouth wide open, like, what?
I told you, I tried to warn you.
Yeah. No, but they're dope, though. Like, they're absolutely dope.
Yeah.
I mean, they're funny. Like, you're definitely going to laugh. They're funny. They're off the chain.
I'm trying to think of anything else, because I don't know. I know. What about somebody? What about, is it a deal breaker for someone to have kids? Oh, see, that's something else somebody said.
In dating? Yeah, because I know that is an issue for some people. Which,
but
if
I feel if you genuinely like the person, I don't think it should be a big problem.
Well, see, I was in this on Mondays at my church. They have this single conversation. It's not like a hookup or anything. It's just like, and anybody can come, but it's just like having a conversation about living a single life. The pastor does touch. He's a young pastor, so he will throw in scripture, here and there. If a question is asked to be cleared up or whatever. But for the most part, we talk about dating and whatever. So one of the ladies said that. She said, I said, well, a person should know, because one of the guys was like, do you think that why would somebody withhold the fact that they have children? And I was like, I don't know, because that's definitely a first date question or even a first conversation over the phone, or, depending on how you met this person or, whatever. This is definitely in one of the first conversations that you should have. Oh, do you have kids? Whatever. Because that's something that a person should know up front. That tells them, that you're a parent, you're busy, you have your kids to tend to, your schedule might not be as open, and the girl was like, well, I don't think that when you first meet somebody, it's any of their business if you have kids. And I'm like, it absolutely is. First of all, why would you hide your kids? She's like, well, what if they don't want to go on a second date? Or, what if they, ask you for your number, and they're like, you know, and you're like, oh, you know, I have kids, whatever, and then they don't call you. And I'm like, well, then they don't call you, because why would you want somebody involved? You know, why would you want to have to hold that lie? And why would you want to be involved with someone who feels like kids are a deal breaker for them? It's only going to, now you go on a first, second, third date with this person, and then they find out you have kids, and now they don't want to have anything to do with you. And by this point, you know, you've probably, you know, already married this person in your head. And
right.
Now
and I would prefer you to be honest in the beginning, to know that the person has a child or children. But
right.
One thing I would say, you know, in the dating scene, the whole ordeal, I would never want that male or female, however it goes, to meet them children until way down the line, because I gotta make for sure this is what I want, and this is who I want my child or my children around.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I believe in that too, which people give me like backlash about that, because they're like, well, if you don't introduce your, you know, your child, then how do you know how well they mesh? And I'm like, well, first of all, you know, I have a daughter. She's 5 years old. She will not meet a man that I am seeing until we are serious. And I mean serious. Like, we are serious to the point where our two worlds are about to collide. Okay, we're seriously going to have to at some point now, you know, obviously share birthdays, you know, share, you know, holidays, because I'm not going to, you know, as my man of however long or however deep we are, I'm not going to not, at some point I'm going to stop saying, well, hey, I can't spend Christmas with you because, you know, my daughter is here, or, you know, whatever. At some point, our two worlds are going to collide, you know, whatever. And that's fine. And once we get to that point, then at that point, I would, you know, want to introduce my child, not at home or nothing like that, but, you know, maybe we can go out to eat, maybe we can go to the park, you know, if you have kids, maybe we can introduce all the kids, kind of make it like a play date, and not necessarily that we are dating, but just kind of like, oh, hey, my friend's kids, you know, are at the park, let's just go, you know, we're going to, you know, whatever. And I think that that's how it should be, because you have to protect your kids from, you know, if the relationship doesn't work out, you know, kids get emotionally attached. And something that a lot of people don't understand is that kids have to take whatever is thrown at them. And yes, they're kids, and yes, they will be okay, but kids never get a say so. You know, the parents break up, they're automatically go with this parent, or, you know, they don't really have a say so, and, you know, they got to go to a new school, and, you know, whatever. And a lot of kids, you know, I feel like for my daughter, I can't have her, I don't want her to grow up thinking that it's okay to have different men in and out of your life. I don't want that.
That is absolutely
I don't want that. Like, for me, with my mom, if my mom ever dated anybody between getting divorced from my dad and her second husband, whom is somebody that she was actually with prior to my dad when my brothers were younger, so he was like a family friend. Like, I did not know that him and my mom had ever dated prior to my dad or any of that. My mom was close with his family, and when we went to his mom's house, because his mom had gotten sick, and in her older years she was getting sick, and my mom would go over and check on her, see if she needed anything. They never said, you know, her and my dad were never inappropriate in front of me or anything like that. And we're talking about years after my mom and dad got divorced. And I didn't even know. I just knew he was Mr. Marvin, you know, Miss Vicky's son, or Miss Vicky's brother, and that we would go over and check on their mom. That's all that I knew. You know what I mean? But my mom, if she was seeing somebody or anything, I never seen them. Nobody ever was sneaking out of our house. You know, I never seen nobody sneaking out of our house or none of that. Like, my mom didn't play that. And I think that's how it should be.
And that's exactly how it should be. Like, my mom didn't bring nobody around us until I was 20 years old.
Yeah, my mom didn't remarry. My parents officially divorced when I was like 12 or 13, probably 12, 13. And my mom didn't remarry until I was 21. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't home. wasn't living at home since I was 16 going on 17. But, I mean, she didn't remarry until I was about 21. And everybody's like, oh, you know, your mom was doing something, you know, whatever. Listen, if my mom was, I knew nothing about it.
Exactly.
Nothing. I never had no uncle, whoever. I never seen my mom with anybody. I never seen, you know, anybody approach my mom inappropriately or, you know, anything like that. So I can't understand these females who, you know, have boyfriend after boyfriend, and they've been talking for a month, and you know he's living with them, or they've been talking for a month or two, and he's chilling at the house in the living room when the kids come home from school. I don't, yeah. But that's definitely a deal breaker for some people, is the fact that you know you have kids.
Yeah, that's true. We gonna continue this on the next show. Make sure y'all tune in. Check out the breakdown, the like page, and the group. Links are there where you can see them. Make sure you check out all the other shows that's on the network. And I think that's it. Other than that, keep your head up. Don't look down. By all means, don't break down. We'll catch up with y'all next time. Peace.